Right, in the meantime, as we prepare to kick off, please join the conversation. Please join the conversation. All you have to do is go to www.menti.com on your phone. You can get your phone. Let's go to www.menti.com. So that's www.menti.com. Once you're in there, you'll be asked to put in a code. The code is 6702 61 67. That's 02 61 67. Once you do that, you will see a thumbs up sign. Just click on that thumbs up sign. www.menti.com. code is 6702 6167. There's a thumbs up sign. Click on it. '67 02 61 67. Apologies. Let's do it again. Let's go to Menti, Vinod. So join the conversation, menti.com. Now this is good. So I can see 3 people have joined the conversation. I need all of us to join the conversation. www.menti.com. The code is 6702 61 67. Wi-Fi. What's the code again? The password? Safari 0202. Okay. So Safari 0202. That's the Wi-Fi password. So 4 people are in. Thank you so much. 4 people are in. Five people. Well done. And even those joining us online, this is a hybrid event. We have those joining us via Facebook and YouTube. So you can also join the conversation. Simply go to www.menti.com and use the code 6702 61 67. And shortly, I may just come to you so that you can share your thoughts in terms of what kind of governor do you think Nairobi County needs? Not in terms of the names of the candidates, no, the kind. You're looking at the character traits. So just begin to think about that, because we'll have that conversation. And remember, this is live, so prepare your thoughts. You will give us your name, the organization you represent, and then your thoughts. And hopefully, even after the elections, we will go back to the Kara Facebook page and YouTube channel, and we'll watch this particular video, this event. But let me have Menti again. Okay, 6 people, fantastic. Please join the conversation in a couple of minutes. Once we are ready to kick off, I'll let you know. Then we can start sharing our thoughts. Your presence is so important to us, and we appreciate you. Asante san. Good to see you, sir. Asante. Thank you so much.
Siku inafika, tutamani na pashulale, duniani maneno, tutamani na pashulale.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your patience. The candidates are already here, and in a couple of minutes they'll be coming in so that we kick off together. Good to see you. Thank you so much. In the meantime, can you check the sound? Just check the sound for me. Excellent. All right, so as we kick off, of course, just to remind us that we'll need your indulgence here. We'd kindly request that we maintain silence. We keep our phones on silent mode. We can post our questions via Mentimeter. And for those who have not joined the conversation yet, I'd kindly request that you do so. Even those joining us via Facebook or YouTube, please do join us, join the conversation. Join the conversation. Once we kick off, remember silence, silent mode. You'll also have an opportunity to ask a question verbally, and you just have one opportunity, one question per person, so that we can get as many questions as possible. In the meantime, just to please join the conversation. Please join the conversation. Please join the conversation via your phone. Just go to www.menti.com. www.menti.com. Once you're in there, you'll be asked for a code. The code is 6702 61 67. So do join the conversation. But in the meantime, let me get to hear from some of you. If you're dressed in red, the carpet is, well, what's the red? Let me just pick that color. So if you're dressed in red, let me have the microphone. Where is the microphone? Okay, so let's start with that end. Just give us your name, the organization that you represent, and the kind of governor you believe Nairobi County needs. Yeah, let's start from the other end. A big round of applause, please, tafadhali.
Morning. My name is Lucy Njeri. I come from Bunge la Mwananchi. I prefer the Governor Polycarp Igathe.
So the question is the character trait. What kind of, forgetting about the name and the party, if you're told these are the qualities of a leader, a governor that I need and I feel Nairobi needs, what kind of governor leader you're looking at?
I can't understand.
What are the qualities? Confident, intelligent.
I don't know.
But a big round of applause. Tunashukuru, asante sana. Forget about the name. Forget about the party. You're told, if you were to say, this is the checklist for a good governor for this beloved county, this county, let me switch it. This county, that is the safari capital of Africa, the 14th largest city in Africa, generates about 62% of the entire country's GDP, the principal industrial center of the country. The governor is the chief executive. What kind of a chief executive would you be looking for? What are the qualities? You're sitting down and you're interviewing different people. What kind? Let's come here. Do we have the other microphone? Let's have the microphone, please. You can just set it up. I see a red here. See a red here. And Mom, if you feel something is coming out, please let me know. I still want to come back to you. Do we have the microphone ready? Okay. All right. Give me the sanitizer, please. The sanitizer. Let me use mine.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Wanjiru Kimani. To even the people who come from the lower classes in Nairobi. That's my view.
Okay. So there you have it. So the candidates are coming here. Of course, we are affiliated to certain parties and already we have targeted specific candidates. But we'd really want to engage in issue-based conversations where we can say, you know what, even after the elections, we will still hold you accountable. So in regards to the event, we will start with the opening remarks. This event is courtesy of the Kenya Alliance of Resident Associations, KARA, in partnership with Hanziadel Foundation. Then we kick off. Once we have the opening remarks, then we'll kick off with the candidates. And I'd kindly request that we maintain silence, as earlier noted. All right. So we'd kindly request the candidates to be at the back just before we kick off. Makofi yao tafadhali as they come in. So we'll request you to be at the back. All right, so we are ready to kick off. So as earlier mentioned, we'll start with the opening remarks. Then we will start the debate. For the candidates, one, two. As the candidates prepare, I'll need them to see this particular video as we kick off, just to set the mood and the atmosphere that at the end of it all, we are partners in developing this county. And we all have a responsibility. Whether a governor, whether a mamamboga, we all have our personal responsibilities to make this county better. I'll start off with this. As we kick off, as I start off with this story, before I start with that, I'd kindly request volume, please. In the next less than 5 seconds, I'd kindly request that we be upstanding for the Kenya National Anthem and the East African Community Anthem. Let us be upstanding, please. kindly take your seats. Asanteni sana kwa kuja. I start off with this story of some 5 people trying to get food. They're trying to get food. The spoon is so long, it's very long. They're trying to feed themselves. They can get the food, but they can't bring it to their mouth, so they start fighting each other. So they're fighting each other, and you can imagine what will happen. Until all of a sudden an idea emerges that if I use my long spoon to serve the other person, and in tandem that also happens, then we can all feed each other and create a better world where we are not fighting each other, but we are finding ways of working together. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the spirit of Together We Will, courtesy of Kara. And to give us the opening remarks, please put your hands together for the Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Henry Ochieng. Karibu sana.
Good morning, everyone. Habari asubuhi. Thank you very much for creating time to be here with us this morning. We are happy to host you. My name is Henry Ochieng from Kara, and we are here today for a very important session to engage and have a conversation with those who have stepped forward for the governor's position. So mine is just to welcome all of you to this session and wish you a very, very productive discussion. But before I do that, I want to recognize a few people who are here with us. Let me start by Mr. Daniel Sebaling from Hansdale Foundation. Sebaling is the resident representative of Hansdale Foundation, who are our partners for this event today and have been our partners for so many years. And we thank you very much, because without your support, we could not have had this session. Asante sana. Let me also recognize our chairman, Mr. Richard Nyaga. Mr. Nyaga is seated there. Nyaga has been chair of Kara for some years now and has been very supportive in making sure that we steer towards the vision and mandate of Kara. I can also see our 2 other board members, Mr. Ephraim Kanake. Mr. Kanake is our governing council member and the board treasurer. And also we have Dr. Peter Hamann, who is also here with us, also a governing council member of Kara. There are many others, maybe they are joining us online, but that's part of the team that we work with at Kara. So just briefly, as you all know that in August we are going to have our general election, and this will signify the end of the 2nd cycle of the devolved governance dispensation, which was created by the Constitution. As the date comes nearer, and as you get closer, I think it's now 52 or 53 days to go, we have a number of individuals who have stepped forward to present themselves for election to the position of governor. Of course, there are many other positions that are being elective positions, but today we are here specifically to talk about those who want to be the governor of this great city. Based on the past 2 elections, we all know that aside from the presidency, the most other hotly contested, and I may say most important elective seat is that of the governor for any county. And this is mainly because this is where service delivery presides. When we talk about service delivery, the governor is the chief executive officer of the county that is supposed to provide services at that particular level. I'm sure you are aware about the devolved services that are presiding or residing at the governor's office. And so they have a mandate to ensure that they're providing that service. As Kara, we have a lot of interest on who becomes the governor of a county, not just Nairobi, but of all the 47 counties, since that is the person who will determine the quality, reliability, efficiency, and level of access to service delivery. We are aware that various candidates have been on the campaign trail, making promises, one promise after another, on what they will do if they get the opportunity to be elected. As voters, we do have a responsibility to make informed choices and elect the right people to the office. To do this, they need to have an opportunity to talk with us, to have a conversation with us, and for us to be able to really understand who are these people who want to preside over the county. Who are these people who have stepped forward to ensure that they'll be responsible for service provision for a particular county. And it is for this reason that we have organized this debate today. And in selected counties, not just in Nairobi, we are going to have in maybe 3 or 4 more counties. And because it is our commitment as CARA to empower you as responsible citizen and support you to demand accountability as we also so that you can be able to make informed choices. We are aware of the fact that having the right leader in office is a key ingredient for accountability, transparency, and provision of quality services by the government. So the objective of this forum today is to provide you an opportunity to engage and understand the vision and the plans of all the candidates who have stepped forward to become the governor of this city of Nairobi. So you'll have a chance to listen to them, you'll have a chance to question them, to interrogate them, and at the end of it, we hope that you'll be able to have enough information to make you make informed choice, so that when you go to vote, you are able to vote for the person who you believe is able to provide the kind of service you expect them to provide, and to provide the kind of leadership that they're supposed to provide for the city. We also expect that after this conversation, we are going to have an action matrix based on what the candidates have told us, and that will be a basis of follow-up and holding the elected governor accountable in fulfilling the promise they are going to make today. So we are going to have some kind of small commitment, which we intend to use to engage the governors after the elections in August and come up with a roadmap on how to achieve those promises that they're going to make to us today. So as CARA and at a personal level, I invite you to listen very carefully to the candidates without emotion, without any partisanship, and just get to understand what are they saying, what are the plans they have, what is their vision, and is that resonating with what you expect as a taxpayer and as a resident of Nairobi? And are you happy that whatever they're saying is practical and will make a difference in terms of service delivery? So that should be our role today. And of course, also, you'll be able to get a chance to make clarification and ask any question. So we are happy that we've been able to get most of the candidates with us. 1 or 2 might not join us, but I think normally they say when you have a quorum, then you can transact business. Sindio? So we have a quorum, we have 5 of them, they'll be introduced, and we'll go through the steps of questions, of interrogation, and just engaging them so that at the end of this forum, we can be at a position to understand who we want to elect and who we want to preside over our county, the Nairobi County. So asanteni sana, and I wish you a very, very productive discussion. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much indeed, CEO. This debate clearly will help us to determine that leader who will ensure that there is quality, reliability, and efficiency of public service delivery. And so we appreciate. Ladies and gentlemen, a quick one for our next speaker. Please put your hands together for all right, okay. So that was Mr. Daniel of Hans Seidel Foundation. Thank you so much. Let's appreciate his presence. Thank you so much for being here. Asante sana. Now, right now, very quickly, we'll introduce the candidates one by one. They'll take their seats. Then we will give them a feel of what we envision in terms of the county, Nairobi County, what kind of vision we have for it before we kick off the official debate. But for now, ladies and gentlemen, on the screen, let's have our first candidate. Let's have it on the screen. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our first candidate coming on board, Mr. Dennis Kobe. A big round of applause to the first candidate. Karibu sana. You can take your seat to my farthest left-hand side, your right once you sit down. Next online, a big round of applause to our next candidate, Harman Gravel. Karibu sana, welcome. A big round of applause. Tafadhali, karibu sana. Our next candidate, a big round of applause to Kenneth Nyamwamu. Kenneth Nyamwamu, karibu sana. We appreciate your presence. Next candidate, a big round of applause to Nancy Wambui. Karibu sana. Thank you so much. And the fifth candidate present, a big round of applause to Polycarp Igabe. Excellent. Thank you so much. We celebrate you. Thank you for being here. And just before we kick off, the rules of engagement are clear. They will have the first 90 seconds each to give their opening remarks. But for now, I'd kindly request all of us on our phones, because we'll be asking them questions as well. Get onto your phones and join the conversation. And we're starting with the first question here for all of us, so that they hear, so that even as they respond to the questions we'll be asking, they will have a clear understanding of at least some of the expectations here. So just go to www.menti.com. This is for everyone. Those here, www.menti.com. If you're joining us via YouTube or Facebook, the same. www.menti.com. The code is 67026167. Now we're asking the first question. What kind of Nairobi do you envision? Write your name and post that point. Everything is on your phone. What kind of Nairobi do you envision? What kind of Nairobi do you envision? Everything is on your phone. Your name and your comment. Your thoughts. All right. www.menti.com. Okay, somebody says here, one that is corruption-free, one that is planned and organized, one that works for its people. Another one says, I envision a Nairobi that has committed leadership and is working towards achieving the sustainable development goals. Well done. www.menti.com. The code is 67026167. Another person says, one that is business driven and transparent. Those joining us via Facebook, YouTube, use the same code, www.menti.com. The code is 67026167. Another person says here, a working Nairobi. I envision a Nairobi that is corruption-free, a green city, safe parks and gardens, clean Nairobi River, safe and walking trails, a clean, green and equitable city where everyone lives in dignity and equality is promoted, ease of doing business is improved. All right, a clean Nairobi, that's Joyce Mutungi. So there you have it, where safety is given priority, open spaces, NMT is available with alternative modes of transport. Okay, fair enough. A place with employment opportunities, one that is inclusive and safe for all women. There you have it. As we kick off, as we listen to their 90 seconds, please, for once, let's give them a standing ovation for the confidence, for the commitment, because this is a personal decision. They've gone through a lot to be here. Let's celebrate them for standing out to be leaders. Let us all stand. Let's just appreciate these candidates. We celebrate you. Makofi yao tafadhali. Makofi yao. We just want to tell you we celebrate. Thank you so much. Excellent. We may kindly take our seats. There you have it. So we celebrate all of you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we'll start with our first candidate. In 90 seconds, tell us why the people of Nairobi should vote for you. We'll start with Bwana Dennis.
Good morning, Hamujambo. First of all, I thank Kara for organizing this very important meeting for us to share with you what we want to do. It's very difficult to give a politician 90 seconds, but I'll try to say a few things. One, I have two. My vision is to see Nairobi change. We want to bring change in Nairobi. Nairobi is a capital city, and Nairobi is going down. And I think it's very important for us as leaders to see how we can make Nairobi become a capital city and a leading city. I have two visions. One is a short-term vision and a long-term vision. The short one is to ensure that all Nairobians have clean water, to ensure that all Nairobians live comfortably. The discussion with Uber people, and they tell me they cannot do business because they cannot reach certain places. One of my immediate intervention was to ensure that in the estates we have roads where people have access to services when they need them. The other one is drainage system in Nairobi, which every minute, even now if it rains for 2 minutes, I'm sure there will be people dying. We'll look at how we can improve drainage system and also to make sure that people live in comfort. The other last point as a short-term gap will be to look at, what we call infrastructure development in terms of making sure that Nairobians have electricity, their access to good health, and the youth can find things to do. The long-term strategy involves working with other big cities, which I'm already in discussion with, to see how Nairobi can become one of those cities that the world is looking forward to. I think all of us have a role to play. It is not only a few selected.
Thank you so
leaders.
much.
Thank you.
Fortunately, because of time, we'll stop there. I'd kindly request that we move on to our second candidate. Harman, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, Kara, for organizing this event today. It provides us all with a neutral platform to speak as candidates for Nairobi Governor. Why I ask for your vote is because I want to give Nairobi an option for a new government. For over decades, we've had the same people in power, and then over those same decades, we keep complaining about the operation of government. So I'm very happy to be an option that's presented to you that provides a new government option. Some background on me is that I have quite a diverse portfolio in terms of skills. I've been a teacher, I've been a lawyer, I've been a web developer. My company invented the first AI lawyer for Africa, and we're moving to build virtual schools, hospitals, and digital job centers for the people of Nairobi. So we're therefore focusing on using technology to solve the leading social issues in Nairobi, and I hope I can count on your votes for these issues. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. A big round of applause to Harman. Thank you so much. We'll move on to our next candidate, Bwana Nyamwamu.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. It's an honor to be here. My biggest focus is to create a business-friendly Nairobi that's business-friendly. Eliminate all forms of harassment on business stockholders. This issue of county council arresting business people who are trying to make a living will end in my administration. I also intend to reduce all business licenses by 50%. I think all business licenses are very expensive and they put an undue burden on our business stakeholders. The third thing that my administration will do for Nairobi is to set aside 50 billion shillings. 50 billion shillings so that small businesses can access loans. That's not the bank interest, but low interest, so that businesses can thrive. I believe if Nairobi businesses are made to thrive, they will create jobs. They will create jobs for our youth, And also, they will make our economy vibrant. Nairobi is one of the biggest cities in Africa, and we need to make it business friendly and business vibrant in the whole continent. The other thing that I want to increase service delivery in terms of sewerage systems to work, especially in the informal sectors. I think they've been given a raw deal. They are all Nairobians, and we need to take care of our informal sectors better than they are being taken care of. Another thing that I want to do in terms of business delivery is to make sure that garbage collection...
Thank you so much. We'll stop you there because of time. Let's move on to our next candidate, Madam Wambui.
My name is Nancy Wambui Molile, sponsored by Usawa kwa Wote Party. And Usawa kwa Wote Party, we believe in supporting everyone and making sure that the families, especially believe in family economy. We believe that the families are doing well. But as I sit here today, I sit here standing also for women as a mother. Because at times, as a mother, we are able to understand things in a different dimension. Because when the economy is not doing well, there is a little cash flow with the families, and a mother is left with the children, and the man go out there. Before the man come back, it's the woman who knows what she has to do to feed the children. So as I stand here as presenting women, I want to say that we have to focus on family economy to improve the life of the Nairobians. And one of the things I want to look at is the youth. We have so many youth who do not have employment. And when they are left idle, they go out there and do bad things or even taking drugs. And as a mother, it affects us. And that's why when I stand here and hoping that the Kenyans can vote for a leader who is a woman as a governor, I can look at some of these things and bring change. For example, for the youth, we have boys and we have girls. I also want to look at the area where youth is usually forgotten. These days we have house help who are Form 4 leavers. And after Form 4, most of the parents struggle so much to get children to school. So these kind of girls, I would want to...
Thank you so much. We'll have to stop you there. Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next candidate, Bwana Igade.
Good morning and thank you for having me. I present my candidature for Governor of Nairobi with 3 agendas. Number 1, kustawisha jamii, fixing the society. Number 2, kuimarisha biashara, a strong, vibrant economy. Number 3, kuboresha mazingira, really fixing the environment of the city. By society, it's really bringing the concept of shared prosperity, moving Nairobi from Charles Dickens city, a city where majority live in despair and disparity, but minority live in hope and inspiration, making it one city, not a tale of 2 cities. When we come to the economy, truly tackling corruption, shut-fronting it, holding it by its face or its neck, and shaking this city from the arms of organized criminals and cartels. And lastly, on the environment, fixing the pollution challenge, air, water, noise, making it safe, beautiful, secure, and especially on society, bringing a social safety net, the level of urban poor in Nairobi, the level of food in...
Do this so that we can practically feel you in Mathare, in Kibra, in Lavington, and feel your presence as the governor easily.
Okay. So once again, I just want to clarify there's 2 sort of elements to the manifesto. When it comes to tech, the creation of tech projects takes us about 2 weeks. So if you tell me you have an issue with sanitation, we create a software for sanitation within. So the same thing also applies to employment, healthcare, and whatnot. The project we have that we want to implement in Mathare and Kibera is our healthcare project. How this works is that you can During COVID, we realized there's no need to physically go to a doctor for consultation in some cases. So what we want to do is implement this same structure in Mathare and Kibera, where you can speak to a doctor simply digitally. You can have a phone call with a doctor and he can diagnose you with your... We do have easier solutions we can implement.
All right, thank you so much for clarifying that. And we'll go to Wananyamwamu as well. And you've also mentioned it even here again. Let's just look at that video once again. Let's have the video.
Hii Nairobi inataka mtu anajali watu wa Nairobi. Kwa sababu ya hiyo, nimedecide administration yangu tukiingia pale City Hall, kila wanabiashara tutawapatia license zao zitapunguzwa na 50%.
So I'm just looking at how feasible that is, and it seems as though the other governors didn't figure that out, and now this is a quick idea that has just come up and you're going to implement it easily. Just elaborate on that.
I think business licenses are very expensive. The cost of doing business in Nairobi, it's very high. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of businesses fail. Secondly, there is this issue of if we cut business licenses by 50%, how is the city council going to get their revenue? But I'll say, in economics, you have economies of scale. If you look at businesses in Nairobi, a lot of people, they only pay licenses when they start their businesses. But when it comes to renewal, there is a challenge because of the cost of that business license. So you find, the compliance officers are going there, taking bribes, harassing these people. And I'm saying, and before, also, a lot of money is lost in corruption in City Hall. So why are we charging our business people so much money only for 75% of that money to be lost in corruption? Let's give our business people half, let's charge them half of that and give them, give them breathing space to do their business. And if whatever money that we get in City Hall, let's use that to budget on the services that we are giving the people. But every single time we keep charging high and high and high, the cost of doing business gets high. My mantra is to make Nairobi business friendly. And one of the ways to make Nairobi business friendly is to ensure business people can do their businesses effectively. There is another issue of, there's a lot of businesses that have closed down in Nairobi. And that has been due to the cost of doing businesses. So one of my solutions is to cut the businesses' licenses by half, allow businesses a little bit more money to put on their stock, so that businesses can thrive, so that businesses don't close down. That's why I reduce it by 50%.
All right, thank you so much. And just to open it up to the audience, remember you can post your questions real time via Menti. Let's just have that board again. www.menti.com. What are your questions? The code is 67026167. Those joining us via Facebook or YouTube, you can also do the same. Remember, we have also a hashtag, Nairobi Governors Debate. Nairobi Governors Debate. Let's continue on. I want to come back to Dennis, your background in journalism and all the other things that you've done. How are you placed strategically to be governor?
Thank you. One, as you rightly said, I'm a journalist, so I'm very much informed. And besides that, I'm an Nairobian. My concern is the welfare of Nairobians. And I think if you look at Nairobi today, it is deteriorating instead of progressing. And why is this happening? It's because of poor leadership. We talk about cartels, but we don't deal with cartels. And in my opening remarks, I talked about people are not drinking water. What is the reason for this? I talked about poor drainage system, poor sewage system. Why is this? This is all about leadership. And I think it is very important for us. And I appeal to voters and I appeal to Nairobians that this is a good opportunity to analyze who you elect. We can talk about very nice things, we can bring a lot of documents, a lot of ideas, but unless we practically intervene to get these things done, we talk about our youth who are graduating, who are very informed, they have nothing to do. It is because the leadership is not thinking for the future of our children. And I think it's very critical for us that we look at this practically and we find solutions to issues that are affecting Nairobians. I come from Liberal Democratic Party, a party associated with change and reforms. And you can Google and relate to what the Liberal Democratic Party did in 2002. And what I'm coming here is to bring mabadiliko. We need change in leadership. We cannot continue like this as Nairobians. We must reach a point where we say enough is enough. We need a different leadership, and we need to engage leaders who are seriously going to look at how do we change this city. When you talk to Uber people, and I use a lot of them, the concern is that we cannot reach certain places at night. We want to do business. And for the first time, they said, Mheshimiwa, don't give us anything. We want to vote you so that you can make business practical for us. We want to reach places where we can reach so that we make our little money. And this is why I'm in this vying for this position, to ensure that the business community practically get a very practical, prevailing business environment to do their work. We think we work with the youth and discuss how do we change, how do we make them productive, how do we make use of their talent that they've gone to school to learn, and then how do we also ensure that even people who live in other areas of Nairobi, not only in the urban, not only high-end areas, can do something. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We'll move to Madam Wambui. Of course, you mentioned about the gender card, but you as a person, how are you strategically placed to be the next governor of Nairobi County?
Looking forward for the voters to consider me as their next governor. And one of the main challenges I want to solve with the Nairobians is the issue of housing. Being in real estate for the last 15 years, I look at housing as one of the issues, if it is solved, that can benefit the Nairobians. And with this, I've been packaging project in affordable housing, and we have come up with a way whereby each Kenyans, even the low-income earners, they can be able to pay.
Just a moment, sorry for the technical hitch there, but so far we have questions coming in via Menti. Keep them coming, so get ready. So go ahead.
So I'm saying with my government that I want to give the Nairobians housing scheme, whereby we are doing affordable housing, where one can pay about 10 to 15,000 per month as rent, and within 10 to 25 years, own a home. And with this, we will partner with the developers and give them a guarantee, whereby with zero deposit, a citizen or a Nairobian will just move into the house and start paying the rent, and within 10 to 25 years, he'll own the house. The next one is water. We have a big problem with water, from upmarket to rural market areas. And one of the issues is that the water is available, but distribution of the water. And that's one of the things I would want to look at in my first 100 days. And then we go to the youth. I had mentioned earlier that most of our house girls these days are Form 4 leavers. And I can connect and work with women to make sure that with the introduction of online studies, that these house girls, they can earn a living as house girls, but have some time to do online classes and continue with the academic. And the other one is that we have many youth who have graduated and they don't have jobs. So we'll work, in my government, I'll work with the companies.
Oh, sorry for that. Water, housing, youth, thank you so much. And we'll come back to these issues. But for now, let's move on to Wanaigathe. And there's also a question already coming in. But let's focus on this particular video of, you spoke PhD, prayer, hardworking, discipline, got you to where you are. And I was just a bit concerned about what you said, and I'd want you to take this conversation further. Let's have that video. Let's have that video. Thank you so much.
All I am for, and this is what Kibaki taught us. Kibaki was an economist who believed, give people equal opportunity. Don't guarantee them an outcome. And actually, that is the real question of this election season. There are people who are saying, we will guarantee you an outcome.
So, a lot of us are thinking of outcomes, yes. What are these specific opportunities that you're guaranteeing for the people of Nairobi?
Thank you very much for that question. There's a lot of unequal access to opportunity. And the opportunities I'm talking about is opportunity to go to school, opportunity to have the right food and nutrition, opportunity to have the right cleanliness and sanitation where you are, opportunity to have the right level of security and safety. Those are the opportunities I'm talking about. And my government, for instance, will ensure in informal settlements that we have a Linda Jamii package that will reduce the number of food insecure households from northwards of 50,000 households in Nairobi. And we contain that. We cannot have a country where people actually sleep hungry. There is umaskini na njaa beyond what we imagine, especially a certain class of people who live in Nairobi. Nairobi, as I said, is two cities, the flower-festooned, treed-in, leafy suburbs, and then a place where people are living and stepping over each other. If you go to the eastland sides and the westland sides, is a massive divide. And that divide, that unequalness is what we need to sort out. But when I say opportunity, then when you're taken to school, vocational training, 1 in 3 people you encounter in Nairobi are young people. And the demography that is most deprived is women and youth. And I'm very happy with the question that's come across. And that's why my campaign platform is Nai tunavyoitaka, Nairobi as we want it as residents. And I just come as a servant to take that baton and get it done. That's what I mean by opportunities.
All right, let's just take one question from Menti. Let's just have Menti on board. Menti on board, please. Somebody says here, Mr. Igathe, you quit your position as a deputy during the last term. How do we know you won't quit on us, Nairobians, again?
I really welcome that question. And I quit because I respect Article 1 of Kenya's Constitution. You're the power. And that's why I've come as a politician. I've refused to come as a cabinet minister. A cabinet minister is employed by Public Service Commission. A politician power from the people. How many politicians out of the 1,500 plus politicians we have in this country, 1,500 MP, the governor, the actually private greed has overtaken public need. The work of a public need. And when I went into this position, I came to serve the public. When I saw that it's private greed that has overtaken public need, I took the right decision. In matters of the conscience, the rule of the majority does not apply. I will stick it out. I have come back as governor to seek a fresh mandate. And I'm asking that the biggest respect is to Article 1. I refuse to accept a salary for doing nothing. There are far too many of us who do that in politics. Some even live abroad and still have the courage to come on TV and say, I want to come back, and they continue earning a salary. So I think time has come, and I really like what Dennis, my worthy competitor, said. It's not about what needs to be done and how it needs to be done in Kenya anymore. It's who needs to do it. And my reversal of my decision before was a public statement that, wait a minute, I will come back as governor. Because the work of a deputy governor, as was defined by the Constitution, is to really advise the governor. And I did not earn the trust to do that. Now I have come to earn the trust of the people as governor, and I humbly seek that you allow me to do so. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for that. Just to pause, I hope on the technical side we're okay there. But in the meantime, please remember, you can post your comments. You can post your comments via Menti. Let's just have Menti in there. Let's have Menti in the meantime. Let's have Menti. Thank you so much. So we have questions already coming in. You can take note of them. So how will you handle corruption at City Hall? That's a question I'll be bringing to you, Dennis. Sound. Very good. So keep the questions coming. The Efficient Construction Committee systems in Nairobi
Zima hiyo alafu washe ngoja.
Direct a question to a particular candidate. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I'll start off with Dennis Cole, I have a question here for you. Let's have the video. Let's have the video. It's in regards to those who have already been governors in this country. Let's have that video, please. Let's have that video. What kind of legacy do you see yourself leaving behind in case you become governor?
EACC detectives raided former Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero's palatial home in Muthaiga to collect what they claimed were crucial documents as part of a probe into graft allegations against him.
I was arrested on the 9th of August.
It was end of the road quite literally for the flamboyant, dramatic Nairobi County boss. Sonko's Road literally ending at a police roadblock in Voi as he was escaping arrest.
That's a question for everyone. Corruption, dealing with corruption and leaving the office untainted. Bwana Dennis.
But the question that we keep asking ourselves, that is it practicable? Our leaders are daring to that. I think it is very important to look at the character of a leader, to look at the integrity of a leader that you're electing. This is going to be very important. Corruption has become a disease, it's a syndrome affecting all of our institutions. The question you ask yourself, why? And you see, when you elect a leader who is not the people's choice, a leader who is other people's choice, and we've seen this happening in this country today, the leaders are actually put on people for people to elect. I think this is where the problem starts. And if you look at the past, you've asked me to talk about corruption, but look at the integrity and how these leaders came into place. And when you come in as a leader, and that's why I'm coming in independently as a political party, because I want to be the project of the Nairobians. I want the Nairobians to hold me accountable. And I want to try to change issues that are derailing Nairobi today. But unless you have a leader who is dependent, a leader who can stand on his own or on her own, it is very difficult to fight corruption. Corruption is the easiest thing to fight if a leader is serious, because you need to put systems in place, you need to be practical yourself. It is said you walk the talk, but you cannot fight corruption if you yourself you are corrupted. And this is what is affecting our country today in so many areas. I think we need leaders of high integrity, leaders who mean well, leaders who are servants of the electorate, not leaders of servants of certain people themselves. And this is why I'm appealing to the Nairobians that you elect me, you elect change. Because I'm a Nairobian, I'm a journalist, as you rightly said, I'm more informed about what has been going on. I know where we need to fix. And I want to be a governor who is dependent, who can make his own decisions, who can relate with the people directly and find solutions to the problems affecting us. Corruption is a big issue. And let me tell you, voters, my brothers and sisters who are here, unless we fight this head on, unless we look at ourselves critically and analyze the leadership that we are going to put in place, I am offering myself, I campaign, people say, give us money. I said, I'm not going to give you a coin. I want to provide a solution to your problems. And that's why I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Harman, representing a greater majority of the population in Nairobi, young people, how will you deal with corruption? And how will you leave untainted?
First one is investigation, and the second one is dealing with the issues of corruption. If Kenya really wanted to conduct proper investigation into corruption, the same investigators from KRA should be in charge for investigation of corruption. That would provide the most effective way to investigate corruption, because the tools and mechanisms used by KRA is the most effective in detecting financial transactions and financial movement. So I would simply take people from KRA, the top investigators, and put them in my office. Secondly, in terms of checks and balances, we do have tech solutions that can track every shilling moving from an office. So that's also one solution I want to bring into Nairobi County, is that we can track all the movement, all the financial transactions that do happen. And that's also the reason that we do have a lot of organizations in Kenya, private, that mostly use digital transactions, because when there's no cash involved, there's no space where an employee can even be corrupt. So we can implement the same system in government, where we're just tracking the transactions, and all the transactions ideally should be digital, because every digital shilling is traceable. So that's the systems I want to implement. So to have the KRA investigators come in to my office, and then now have digital systems tracking the movement of finance for my office as well.
Corruption? First of all, we have bodies that have been mandated to deal with corruption, and in my opinion, they just play with they just take Kenyans for fools. There is a report that loses 2 billion daily. And people go to court, but we don't get people charged with corruption. That's a big question, So what are these people who are investigating corruption doing? You heard that Kidero was taken to court over corruption charges, but he's running for governor in Homa Bay. So there's a big disconnect. We are not serious in how we are fighting our corruption. If we needed to fight corruption, these people who have been taken to court, courts need to come with sentences instead of just postponing cases forever. Kidero should be charged. Kidero needs to be in committee or something. Somebody needs to be held accountable. We just do side shows and nobody is held accountable. And as long as this happens, we are still going to be in this vicious cycle of crying corruption every election year. One of the things that I've decided, nobody who has been accused of corruption will be in my cabinet. I refuse to work with anybody, whether the allegations were proved or not. If you are mentioned in any case, I believe you should not be allowed to either run for office or hold office until your case has been determined. But we do it the other way around. You are allowed to run for office or stay in office until your case is determined. If we change it the other way around, then we will be more serious, and people will see that we are working with corruption. But The way the system is, we can play around with it, do games day in, day out. Now, I know my time is not out. I had to respond to what Mr. Igathe said. I just wanted to ask Mr. Igathe, and I want him to explain to the people of Nairobi. You know, he's saying a lot of things that he's going to do. He's seen a lot of problems, but he's not mentioning the solutions. I saw is not business friendly. I gave a solution, 50% off for business traders. But he's saying all these things, but there is no tangible solution that is offering Nairobi. So what is he really offering Nairobi? That's question number one. Question number two, Nairobi needs a person who's resilient. You don't quit because you've been frustrated. There's a lot of people who stay in their jobs and they are frustrated and stay to the end. But he quits. Why should Nairobi trust him this time?
Well, allow us to move straight to Bwana Igathe to respond to that in probably 1 minute.
I really welcome Nyamwamu's question, but let me answer yours because you're the interviewer. On this corruption issue, Kenya and Nairobi in particular is choking from the cholesterol that is corruption. If you have cholesterol in your blood veins, chances are you'll end up with a heart attack. And we are getting heart attacks. We have to deal with this corruption issue in a fresh way. And one of the solutions I prefer, in addition to taking an individual to jail, enforcing the law, I think time has come to all of us admit that we are all corrupt. And to get into a system where we create an amnesty also. Because what we want to remove is the jig and not cut the two. When you have cholesterol, you don't kill yourself. You keep the body alive. There must be a system of restitution, a system of recovery, a system of regularizing, but under a framework of having declared corruption a state of emergency like Raila Amolo Odinga has declared. State of emergency, and the Constitution allows the president to declare a state of emergency on an issue of public disorder. Let's stop talking about it now. Let's use the law. Let's use the Constitution. And that has been declared under Azimio la Umoja, especially in Nairobi. And we can declare a state of emergency on corruption in the city, county of Nairobi, but that is a pronouncement of His Excellency.
Number two, on the issue of quitting, your response.
The solution to business in this city is not so much supply-side economics. It is demand-side economics. When you keep on talking about licensing, you're just speaking to the business owner. What about the employee who works in the business? My biggest solution is this. We shall not renew any single business permit if you are not paying your employees minimum wage in the city county of Nairobi. Look at how many watchmen we have in Nairobi. I'll just use that as a class. Over 200,000 who work. But you're saying you've created a job, but the job you've created cannot afford somebody a daily living. They can't pay a pension. They can't afford an HIF. And we are that is one solution to actually say, I will reduce the cost of a single business permit and truly make it the single business permit, but also ask in counterpart, please pay a minimum wage. Because when you pay a minimum wage, you trigger aggregate demand. If you pay above the minimum wage or minimum, and I've been an employer, what happens? Those people spend in supermarkets, they spend in uko kwa masokoni, they're able to live well, to buy good clothes. People are able to afford a normal living. That's, for instance, a big solution. The second thing is I'll build markets, a lot of markets. The third thing is we're going to drive cooperative movement, especially for women, and enable them to access credit at a lower cost. The third thing is, and the most important one, which I agree with Nyamwamu, is we must bring the cost of the single business permit and look at it and make it one single business permit. For instance, a bar and restaurant requires 12 permits to operate, but reduce it. So incentivize business to do the right thing. And part of that right thing is make sure that it's not just a few people who extract from others. The employer in the city, county of Nairobi needs to think about the employee.
All right, thank you so much for responding. Bwana Nyamwamu, if you have further questions, we'll take them later on. But let's come to Madam Wambui. Corruption. Dealing with corruption and leaving untainted.
You didn't answer one of my questions.
The quitting question.
Yeah, I didn't answer.
I can answer that one.
In 1 minute, please.
Okay, very well. 2 years after I left and resigned honorably from office, the Nairobi City County was about to be disbanded. You've just shown us a video. I saw that coming. Did you want me to be part of that? So Nyamwami can come and quote me here the way he has quoted a past governor. My position is this. I'm the cock that crows before you wake up. And I can be able to see and foresee, and I refuse to dirtify myself with corruption. If I hurt his sensibilities by avoiding corruption, then I'm really sorry, sir. And I'm happy to appoint you a cabinet secretary, so we work together because you're very passionate about corruption. Welcome to my cabinet.
So one minute, Bwana Nyamwamu, go ahead.
I will respond to that because you don't quit because the tough gets going. A lot of Nairobians would have quit if that were the case. A lot of people work under duress in our capital city, the same city that he wants to be governor in. So what guarantee do we have that he won't quit when the going gets tough? That's issue number one. Issue number two, he knew who he was tying himself to when they were campaigning in 2017. He just didn't go to office and find out, oh, this is the guy I'm dealing with. He knew that when they were campaigning. So he chose to attach himself to him. And then he's like, oh, I can't deal with this guy, I refuse to take to myself. I do not agree with that. That's not how, tide goes. That's not how it goes. When the tough gets going, you tough it out. And, you say, I did my best, but these were the circumstances that I had. But you don't quit because, I don't want to taint myself. You knew what you're getting into.
Nyamwamu, I come from the private sector. You have seen me short at. I have been a CEO for longer than you. You've just come back from America, and there's a dispute continuing about your qualification and eligibility to be a candidate also. So when, let me tell you.
Just one minute, Bwana Go ahead.
Allow me, Nyamwamu. I'm 49. I've been a CEO for 20 of those years of very solid, serious companies. The level of cartels I have fought in the oil industry, in the fast-moving consumer industries, has been massive. I repeat, I did not quit because I wanted to insult the people of Nairobi. I quit because I hold them dearly. I respect my oath of office. And the oath of office, by the way, Nyamwamu, when I win on 10th of August, the oath of office is you and your God. And that's why a lot of politicians don't even get blessings. You find that their life becomes a curse because you swear to God to serve, but you do the opposite.
Thank you.
All right. Let's hold there. And I'm really concerned as I come to Madam Wambui. Talking of corruption and talking of cartels, and clearly you're the only woman candidate, at least in this particular setup. We, of course, have Madam Nancy. How are you going to deal with this? And how are you going to leave a legacy behind? What kind of legacy? Go ahead.
Corruption, it takes character. For one to go and be corrupt in City Hall, it's because he has been corrupt before. And that's where the principles are involved. Like for me, myself, I have a guiding principle as a God-fearing person. I am not young as a person and in the business, and I have not been involved in corruption. So in my government, I will not entertain corruption. And also, it takes two to do corruption, especially where big money is involved. So for me, I'll not be party to corruption with any parties. So that's and also in the running of the office, with the digital system, we can be able to reduce or to a good percentage the corruption in the office. So that's how I'll deal with the corruption.
All right. There are questions coming in, and I wanted to pick this question as well for you. This is something that you also mentioned earlier on. Ask Nancy Wambui, let's have that on Menti. Ask Nancy Wambui what her plan is to protect the household incomes and economic rights of Nairobians in Nairobi. What are your plans to protect the household incomes and economic rights of Nairobians?
Now, number one, I'll protect the business people. Like we have seen, like in business sector, like Gikomba area, the people who are doing the Mituba business, we have seen their business put on fire. And when you put a business area on fire, it means you have destroyed people's businesses. And this is one of the areas I would want to protect. In my 5 years, once I'm elected, I'll make sure that there'll be no fire in Gikomba. The other area is area of the border people. As I've been talking to them, one of the major problems is that is harassment. Right now, I understand there are several of them in the industry area. Just because they entered to the CBD, their motorbikes are taken, and they're taken to the industry area, and the motorbikes are kept in the city council compound. So this is now, I call it like harassment. So in my government, I'm going to make sure that especially the askalis from the county askalis, they will not harass the citizen of Nairobi or the Nairobians.
All right, just let's look at that video just on PowerPoint there. Let's look at that video, and just to respond to the fact that yes, there are concerns, but how do we also create order in regards to the transport system? Let's take a look at that.
Tumenyanyaswa ya kutosha tangu crackdown iliendelea na ikasimamishwa na president. Pikipiki zetu bado zimekwama mingi sana kwa police station. Reason lazima upelekwe kotini, upige fine pesa mingi ambapo hata uwezi nini. So wamekataa kurudisha pikipiki zetu.
Wetu wanapigwa, wanafura huku. Pikipiki zetu zinawekwa kwa mshe, zinawekwa chumvi kwa police station. Ukienda kama ukishikiwa pale Green Park unawekewa bangi. Some of our members, two of our members wako industrial area sahi kwa sababu tu wamekataa kuhongana.
A small group of bodabodas decided that they wanted to hold a demonstration which has not been sanctioned, which is not legal. So such unlawful assemblies cannot be allowed because they were bound to cause chaos and commotion and anxiety in the CBD.
So how do you balance between responding to their challenges, but of course also creating sanity in the transport system in Nairobi?
Well, one of the things I plan to do is to register Nairobians. We have a system whereby we are able to know how many number of people of the population in Nairobi, and especially now you are asking about the border. So we'll know how many borders we have in Nairobi, and from there we'll control that there will be no border from, let's say, out of Nairobi like Kiambu or Machakos. So when we have the border from Nairobi, we shall be able to put up some terms or rules and regulations, and anyone who break the rule will be taken care of. But on the other hand, when we register them, we are able to reduce the number of the motorbikes in Nairobi. And with that, the motorbike people are able to make, or we are able to make the motorbike business profitable because at the moment, they spend a lot of time just waiting for clients. And with that, even if you put the laws that they don't come to town, they are forced to break the laws because they have to make the ends meet.
All right, thank you so much for those comments. Bueno, Dennis, I can see you want to respond to that. I'll give you 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you. Before I respond to that, I would like to appeal to my friends. You've just seen the discussion that has gone on, to request them to step down for me so that I can provide the right leadership in Nairobi. Besides being a journalist, I'm also a diplomat with the African Union. So when it comes to issues of organization and leadership, Nairobians can trust me on this. Now, responding to this, in 2016, the Japan International Cooperation Agency developed a master plan. And the master plan was also focusing on improving on transportation in Nairobi. Apparently, that has not been touched. We are talking about infrastructure development out of Nairobi, and we are seeing the main roads, and we give a lot of thanks to the president for pushing this, the outgoing president. But I think we need to look at also Nairobi in terms of improving transportation within Nairobi as a county. And I think this is one of the long-term, agenda that I'm going to look at to see how we can bring that master plan into action. What areas do we need to look into? There's also sewerage, mechanism. There's also, various issues that we need to look at. But the master plan has a very beautiful, a lot of very good ideas that can take Nairobi forward. And Nairobi can be like any other city, like London, like Germany, like Tokyo, or whichever. But if we follow those and we have proper leadership, and this is why I'm urging Kenyans, you vote me, you vote for change in Nairobi. And we'll be able to implement some of these things to see that Nairobi become really a capital city. Thank you.
All right, before I open it up to those who are here to also ask their questions, there's a question here for Bonagravel. You talk, let's have it on Menti there so that we can all see the question. On Menti, please. Fantastic, thank you. You talk about the hybrid economic model. Kindly elaborate on how this model works and how will it be beneficial to us, your people, your city.
Okay. Well, there's two well-known economic models that are currently in Kenya, that is trickle down and bottoms up. But I feel that both of them have consequences that don't allow a country to grow in the long term. You don't have to have the extremes. So what I constructed was a hybrid of both bottoms up and trickle down. And how this works, for example, is if I'm the governor of Nairobi and I want to issue a tender, for example, for the manufacturing of 1,000 wheelbarrows. How it works is the tender is split in half. So in order for 500 wheelbarrows will go to an existing large manufacturing corporation so that the government keeps supporting these existing corporations and those thousands of employees. And then the remaining 500 wheelbarrows will go to an association. So for example, in Kamkunji, we have over 200 people that are manufacturing wheelbarrows there. So if we consolidate all these producers and have them as one association, they now form one of the biggest wheelbarrow factories in Kenya. So they will receive the remaining half of the tender. And each shop owner will now be producing a unit for the government. And that way we've achieved not only trickle down, but bottoms up. And that's the hybrid economic model.
All right, all right. Any questions from the floor? Oh, fantastic. Wow, we've got loaded questions. Let's get the microphone. Let's get the microphone. So one question per person. Start with your name, organization. One question within 1 minute, please, so that we can take as many questions as possible. Where's the microphone? All right. Where is it? Let's have the microphone. Let's have the microphone. Okay, let's start from that end. Name, organization, question in 1 minute, please. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Evan Soluch, MCA aspirant, Embakasi East, Lower Savannah. My question goes to the governors here, our incoming governors, concerning garbage collection. I come from informal settlement, and garbage collection is one of the biggest issues that we are dealing with right now. And right now we have our youths who are doing that work. And honestly speaking, garbage collection is the responsibility of county government. And since county government has failed when it comes to government collection, we have our youths who are doing this work. And according to me, as a candidate aspirant, I look at this youth and I'm asking myself, what is the governors going to do when it comes to garbage collection? And what are you going to do when it comes to these youths, our young boys and girls who are doing this work? Thank you so much.
So much. Let's move on to the far end first. Okay, go ahead. Name, organization, question in 1 minute. Go ahead.
My name is Dan Kanibundi, aspiring MCA Mountain View Ward. Swali yangu ni kuhusu cartels, na sana sana ni kwa Mr. Nyamwamu ambaye amesema atapunguza ile kodi ambao wana Nairobi wanalipishwa. Sasa ningependa kumuuliza cartels, for example, ukienda pale bus station kuna vioski zile wamama wetu wanausia pale. Sile maduka zote ni za mtu mmoja ambaye amekondisa watu. Somebody signing rent from Nairobi. If you go to country pass and even anywhere, unaweza pata duka zote ziko Nairobi ni za watu 5 ama 6. How you want to deal with that? And it's on public domain. That's what happening. More one question.
Just
Tuko
one
na shida ya-
question.
tuko na shida ya maji.
Just
Maji.
one question. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Big round of applause for him. Business cartels, how do we deal with them? Let's take another question on that far end. Name, organization, one question within a minute, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning. My name is Murad Rayani, aspiring independent candidate for Parklands High Ridge. Just before I ask my question, on a point of note, Parklands High Ridge doesn't actually have a residents association, so I'd like to talk to some of the people who formed them to find out how we can do that. My question is that since the NMS took quite a bit of authority from the county government, some people are saying that actually they performed better than the county government. So do you think that's true? And are you in favor of keeping the NMS as it is and keeping it supporting? How do you see it complementing the work that you do? Has it worked? And are people right saying, let's leave these members of counties assemblies, they haven't done a good job, let's let the NMS do it, they do it more efficiently.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Another question. Let's come in front here, please. In front here. Name, organization, one question within a minute. Go ahead.
My name's Tabu Charles. My question goes to Mr. Governor Igathe. I thank you for your credibility because you take something very reasonable to resign instead of being involved in corruption. But what I wanted to know from you is one, you have been in corporate business as a CEO, and you have talked about the problem of Nairobi. I don't know when you realized this problem, because I've never had you working towards solving issues towards CSR within your corporates. And this one will go across board, because Nairobi has these problems you are telling us now, but you have never seen you on the ground within the corporates solving this problem through corporate social responsibility. Again, in corruption, you have talked about, all of you have talked about how you are going to manage corruption, but I've never heard of you reporting any corruption case in Integrity House, whereby you take responsibility as a Kenyan citizen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Appreciate corporate social responsibility. We've not seen you on the ground. And of course, you dropped in another question on corruption. Let's move on to the next one. Asante sana, we appreciate it. Let's come to the next question. Name, organization, question one within a minute. Go ahead.
Good morning, all. My name is Max Bilafula. I'm a journalist. I just have a question on licensing and houses built on perennial land. I know Nairobi is coming up in urbanization, but my question to all is that most of the houses across the cities that are built on perennial land, and we're supposed to protect our nature when it comes to climate change. What are the impacts, or what are the measures all of you are going to come up to protect that? And majority of these licenses are being given in the city council office with the officers that you have appointed in the office. What are the measures that, if you be like today, given a chance to rule the Nairobi as gubernatorial, what are the measures that you coming out to protect that? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. I'd kindly request the candidates, please pick one question or two at most that you will respond to. Name, organization, question in a minute. Go ahead.
Yes, I'm Isaac Okeo from Women Empowerment Link Organization. Okay, my question goes to Mheshimiwa Igathe. In 2017, when you were campaigning in Sonko, you drafted issues which are dealing with traffic jam. And within 100 days when you were in the office, you people never implemented that. So how are you going to trust you this time, the way you are going to address those issues? Okay.
Thank you so much. Trust. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Lauren Isimiti from Women Empowerment Link. So my question is to Mr. Dennis. We've seen you've talked about improving transportation in Nairobi. So I just wanted to know how you're going to deal about congestion, because now we've seen that the expressway was not even a solution, and they've even imposed on people having to pay for it. So how are you going to go about it?
Thank you so much. Next question. We've got two. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Hilary Matano. I'm from Nico Green. My question is cross-cutting, and it is, what climate action plans are the candidates having for the city? Thank you.
Next.
Hello, my name is Petros Gikonya. I'm from the Kauria Close Resident Association. My question to the panel It's about controlled development. We are not anti-development, but we have seen what has been happening, particularly in Kilimani, and now moving into the Lavington area. We have situations where the county government is giving permissions to build, but we have no schools, we have no infrastructure. So basically, controlled development is an issue, and we want to know, how are you going to listen to us when we say we need maybe a school over here, we need a park over here, we need a hospital over here? How are we going to work with you in terms of controlled development? We are not anti-development, but we want to make sure that those who are there are getting the amenities that can improve their quality of life or sustain their quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. As we take the questions, remember we have a hashtag. We're coming to this side. We have a hashtag Nairobi Governors Debate. And those joining us via Facebook and YouTube as well, you have an opportunity to post your questions as well via Menti. Let's take one question. Okay, let's start there. Go ahead.
Okay. My name is Francis Nyagaka, aspiring MCA Landmawe, independent candidate. My question goes to all the panelists. What is your take about the street families in Nairobi central business? To all of you.
Thank you so much. Next. Come here. Thank you.
My name is Humphrey Otieno from Safer Nairobi Initiative. My question is very simple, and this goes to all the candidates. As you know, the Urban Areas and Cities Act has provided how a county can qualify to become a city. And in the case of Nairobi, now Nairobi has 3 or almost 4 million population. In the governance, what is your take in further decentralization of Nairobi so that to make service delivery effective from a policy point of view? Thank you.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Okay, my name is John Marvin. My question goes to all of you. Okay, as we grow, all of us, the way we are here, we are all youths, and from one stage or another, we all pass through this stage. Now, my question is, as you guys want to be governors of this nation, governors of Nairobi, yeah, all of you, what do you have the youths of this county in mind? Because if you look at our youths today, a larger percentage of our youths, character-wise, they're not there yet. Because one day you tell us you want to be the leaders of tomorrow, but we are the leaders of today. So my question is, what do you have in mind for the youths to make them a better people like you, so that one day, me too, I'll sit there and want to run for the governor of this great county. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next. Go ahead.
Okay, morning everyone. My name is James Odongo. I'm the CEO of KNCCI in Nairobi County. So I have quite a number of questions, but I'll just, because I'm allowed only one question. There's the issue of development control. And we supposedly have a zoning plan for Nairobi City County. First of all, the previous governments have not adhered to the Access to Information Act on making this information privy to members of the public. So maybe in the administration, what are you going to ensure, or rather what mechanisms are you going to put in place to ensure that members of the public have access to these zoning plans and that the implementation involves the various residents' associations and the relevant stakeholders?
Thank you so much. Okay, we close on the, okay, go ahead.
Okay, my name is Vincent Nyakwach, Secretary General, University of Nairobi Student Association. My question goes to all of you. This is a capital city that houses a huge number of students. And being the capital city, then we have to be serious on matters economy. Research is one of the inputs in the economy. Public universities have been sidelined in terms of funding from the government, and we find that private universities get huge sums of funding because private units are not audited. What are you going to do to ensure that public universities too are funded adequately for research and innovation for the students. We are not going to talk about anything if we can't talk about education in this capital city. So anyone who cannot address students' issues, then we don't have any choice but not to vote them in.
All right, thank you so much. Let's now move to the final row there. Final column, sorry. Go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Roger Sudwell, political reporter, Ghetto Radio. Okay, my question goes to Madam Nancy Wamboi. You've talked of Gikomba fires, which is very perennial, and we know the election are surrounded by perception. What are you going to do to stop this perennial issue? Because we know the Gikomba is a source of livelihood to many Kenyans, especially 100,000 Kenyans who depend on the trade there. So, and what if you are not elected? Are these traders going to suffer because you are not voted? And another question to Bwana Igade.
Well, thank you so much. We're just taking one question per person. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's move on to the next person. Go ahead. One question each. Go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm Evans Mercy from Ballot Watch, based in Westlands. Now, the question is to do with NMS. When I gather you've told us about you saw it coming. Things were going to collapse, and we had the NMS. Now, right now, we have an NMS, and we have also another government at City Hall. So there are two in one. Now, to all of you, should you be given an opportunity on 9th of August by Nairobians, are you likely to continue having the two in one, or are you going to do away with NMS, and then we remain with everything at City Hall? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Mary Atieno ama Plan B. Mimi ndo nasimamia Nairobi County. Bwana Igade, niko swali na wewe. Kuna watoto hapa wanaitwa cerebral palsy. Au watoto wanalipa dawa, wazazi wao wanalipa dawa pesa mingi sana. Uko na mpangilio gani kusaidia watoto bila kulipa dawa? Hiyo one. Kwa ofisi City Hall kuna cartel wanatumia jina za walemavu upande ya tenda. Utatusaidia aje? Asanteni sana.
Let's finish up with the questions. There are so many questions. I'll give you 5 minutes each to respond to typical questions. Go ahead. Do we have one more? Okay. Let's close with this gentleman here. Go ahead.
My name is Tony, Karen Residence. My question actually is two issues, youth and housing, and I open it up to the panel. There's a lot of disillusionment among the youth, and I wanted to bring in the issue of tech, in terms of tech solutions. Ajira, we know, is all over. Well, not everywhere, but in some places. How are you going to leverage your need so that you devolve around the various areas, so that you can stimulate and inspire youth to bring in innovation, take in innovation, and provide solutions within their estates to address their core problems, be it garbage, be it education, be it, whatever it is. Secondly, in terms of housing, how are we not...
Thank you, sir.
Two in one.
Two in one.
Yeah. So in terms of housing, how are you not thinking, say, 3D? We saw in Malawi, they already built a school. 3D in terms of solution, providing housing solution. 3D printing, sorry.
Okay, thank you so much. We're very sorry we had to take only those questions. We'll start with you, Bwana Dennis, 5 minutes.
Thank you. First of all, I want to congratulate the Mheshimiwa MCAs who are here and appeal to you so that we can work together to change Nairobi. And also my brother, Senator Sakaja, who's not here, we wish him all the best and his supporters. The second point that I need to move to is garbage collection. This has been said all over. The question is why there's no solution to it. And that's why I say that this all boils down to what we call good leadership. And when we have projects given to us as leaders, nothing is going to happen. And that's why for me, I said a leader must offer himself or herself so that he can be held accountable by the people that elects him. About cartels, you've talked about monopoly of businesses. You talked about, people given a specific permit. It's not just about permits. but putting proper mechanism in place to ensure that business is fair and is free and fair for all. The other question that was asked directly to me, that is transportation organization. I talked about the JICA master plan for Nairobi. But again, my sister, this is all about organization. It's about leadership. If you go to the stage and you try to organize those people, sometimes when there are jumps, I think you have seen this, they organize themselves and things are moving. So I think what we are lacking in Nairobi is just good leadership. And that's why I'm appealing to you to vote for change. Please open your eyes, eat the money that you are given. A leader who buys you is not a leader. But get a leader who appeals to you and explains to you what he wants to do, then vote for him. Eat the money, but vote for the right person. Talking about the youth agenda, my running mate is actually a 26-year-old. And this one I've taken into account because you look at my age, I'm slightly older. We need the youth to participate in leadership. And this is something that must be practical. And that's why I'm very practical on this. I agree with the student who is saying that the universities are excluded. The leadership that we bring on board is not leadership who cares about the progressive of that particular city, especially in Nairobi. These are leaders who are concerned about themselves and their masters. This is where the problem is. And I appeal to you Nairobians, this is a good opportunity for us to rebel in a good way and say, we want to elect a leader who will champion our interests, not a leader who will champion interests of other people that have put them in power. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. Before we move on to the next candidate, I'd like you to respond to this one. Let's take a look at this particular video. Let's take a look at this particular video just to see whether you want to sustain this. So this is what NMS has done. So my question to you, Dennis, would be, have they done a good job?
Thank you. We all agree that...
On recarpeting of CBD roads, NMS has completed 30% of all the roads and is using Kazi Mtaani initiative, which you started, sir. To this end, NMS has engaged our youth in drainage clearing, waste management and rehabilitation of roads.
Ninashukuru ambapo sisi serikali wametuchagua tuweze kufanya kazi, aturarangi tena kwa vibanda. Watoto wetu saa hii tumewakoborea manyumba.
So if they have done a good job, why should we have you as governor then?
Now we all agree that NMS has done a very good job, but they need political leadership to back what they are doing. And if I'm elected governor, I will work with NMS to ensure that Nairobi improves. You know, there are a lot of opportunities, a lot of activities in Nairobi that needs to be activated. And this cannot be limited to the office of the governor. And therefore, if we find other sources, other avenues where we can empower and make sure that Nairobians get the services that they require, bravo. And I can assure you, Nairobians, if you vote me in, that we'll start where NMS has left and move on from what we need to do to improve so that we ensure that Nairobians get the services that they require. So I agree with you that they're doing a good job, but they need political backing, which can only come from an elected governor. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's move on to the next candidate. Respond to some of the questions that were asked and respond to NMS as well. Go ahead.
So, since I have the autonomy to pick any questions, I'll pick some of the more difficult ones. I like the question on planned development. A bit of background on myself. One of the companies I worked with was involved in the manufacturing of gym equipment and setting up of gyms in Nairobi. And before we set up these gyms, one of the steps that was involved was market research to understand whether it's feasible to put up a gym in a certain area. So we do possess a software that allows me to scan an area and see what businesses are operating in that area. So that same software can be applied for planned development in Nairobi. If someone's putting an application to put up a bar, we can scan whether there's residents within a capacity of maybe like 100 meters, 200 meters. So that software allows us to plan all of this. It can help us predict even issues that could arise. So one of my friends from the UK, he's an actuarial scientist that works with a power company. And his job is to predict how much power should be produced for certain areas and predict within the next 10 years how many units are we supposed to be producing. So we've also created a software for us to help plan the development in Nairobi. So if I see a certain area is growing at this certain rate, I can plan that we need these parks in this area. We need these schools. So we do have that software that can help us track the development and growth and then help us with the planning. So that would be my answer to your question. In regards to the youth, you asked the question. I just want to make it very clear that the youth is not a special interest group. Right? You're very enabled to do whatever you want to do. How old are you? Yeah.
Okay, I'm 26.
26? Okay. You said that you hope one day you can be sitting on a platform like this.
I will.
I'm 1 year younger than you. So you're not limited. So you're not limited by your age. All right? And it comes through consolidation of work. What I hope to do is to inspire the youth to show them that no matter how old you are, if you have the right ideologies and belief and confidence in yourself, you can achieve anything. Right? The last question I'll respond to is a question on universities. I am friends with the student lead for University of Nairobi, that is Melbourne. And I've worked with several universities. I've been a lecturer as well in universities in Nairobi, where I lecture the youth on how they can use IT to have a side income and also to learn other things as I have. I've found the background of myself is like I also have a background in engineering, web development, marketing, graphic design, and all this came from online learning. So this is something I also want to offer the youth in Nairobi. Whether you're currently doing a course in university, that doesn't mean that you have to stick to that course. I did a law degree at Strathmore University, but my portfolio and education is so diverse because of this. So that's something we're also partnering with universities in Nairobi to achieve, and I hope that will help you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We move to Bwana Nyamamu.
So before I respond to some of the specific questions that were asked to me, I would like to make something very clear. Number one, my brother said he's been a CEO for several companies. I started a company. I'm the founder and the CEO of my organization, my company. It's a staffing agency that I started in my couch. And, you know, within a year, I was able to grow up to over 100 staff members. So I just want to put that outside there. And in regards to my educational background, I have a computer science degree from University of La Sierra University, Riverside, California. And I also have a master's in data analytics from University of Maryland. Studying abroad is not a deformity. It's just an opportunity we got, and we took care of it, and we're grateful for it. So I just want to put that clear. There's nothing about my papers that is in question. Okay. I want to respond to the issue of garbage collection. My administration is going to create a garbage collection system where we have assigned days. People, the city will come pick the garbage, the way they used to do back in the day. I don't know why they stopped it, but we are going to go back to that. He raised the issue about the youth collecting garbage. We are going to absorb them into the city council because they're doing the work of the city council, the work of the county government. We are going to absorb them, train them the way garbage is supposed to be collected, sanitary-wise, from the start of the garbage collection to the end of the garbage collection. This issue of collecting garbage and just going to dump it in Dandora will stop. We'll create facilities where that garbage will be processed, whether it's recycling of the garbage or just incinerating the garbage that cannot be recycled. So it's going to be a system that ends into a place where that garbage is scientifically handled. That's number and then I said we'll absorb those guys to the county because they are doing the work of the county, and we'll train them and empower them. The other issue that I wanted to answer directly is the issue of using the youth so as to speak to solve our problems. I think your background is in computer science, is that correct? No, him in blue is the one that asked the question. No? Okay. So we intend to make Nairobi a smart city. So what we are going to do, we are going to use data analytics to solve the problems that Nairobi has. If it's garbage collection, service delivery, we are going to use data analytics, collect the data, so we see what the data speaks, and use that data to solve the problems. The other issue that I really wanted to talk about is the issue of border borders. My government will create a county-wide app just like the Uber app, but with more capabilities. That will include their licenses, their information, and also will streamline the process in terms of where the patient is, not the patient, but the passenger is and where the driver is. I realize a lot of boda pick up a center and they sit there and wait for customers to come there. So if we have an Uber type of app, this will help, have the information of the people who are doing boda. It will help streamline the process. It will help them get customers in an efficient manner, where, a customer asks for a boda thing and whoever is nearby picks it up, just like the Uber style of app. We'll do that for the county, for all the bodas for free. So that, because, if we charge them, we'll make it free. The county will make it free. The other issue that was raised was the issue of NMS. Our democracy does not allow for this kind of system. But what NMS has highlighted is bad leadership. We have a senator who's supposed to be acting like the oversight for the county government. The current senator apparently didn't do anything, didn't see any wrong, didn't observe any ills of the government. But what NMS has highlighted is, the type of leadership, bad leadership that we've had. We don't need to go that way. We just need to replace the kind of leadership we place in our county. If we do that, then we won't need any NMS intervention. But we can have NMS on standby. If a leader is messing up, they take over. So we have to pull our socks so that, we ensure we deliver our services to the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much indeed. Let's move on to Madam Wambui. Go ahead, 5 minutes, please.
I'll start with NMS. Whether they did good work. Yes, we can say they did good work. But the question is, should we allow them to continue with the management of county government? And with that, I say no. Because when they were given the management, for how long can they go on doing the good work? Because we have seen other subsidiaries of city council, like Nairobi Water. I believe they did well the first few years. But at the moment, as I was looking at it, we would want to know, how many connections they have done for the sewer, how many connections they have done for the water, and that's why we have a very big problem with the sewer and water. So what I want to say is that instead of having an MS to continue management of the city council government have a team of workers, starting from engineers, planners, accountants. All what they need is just good leadership. And that's what, if I'm given opportunity, I'm going to offer. And work with them as a team, and we see how we can make Nairobi not a place of people with the uniform. Because NMS is managed by people with the uniform, and under normal circumstances, we don't just walk in to people with the uniform. You go to them with fear. But we want to leave Nairobi a home where Nairobians can walk in. If they have any problem, they tell us how we can solve it. So if I get opportunity to be governor of Nairobi, I'll make Nairobi or the city hall a home where Nairobians can walk in and we solve the problem which we are facing as Nairobians. And I go to the street families. The street families, we have a number of them who are in street by choice. Then we have other children who are born and they found them there. They found themselves in the streets. So this one, I would look at it like, for those who are willing, I would want to relocate them. Like I get a piece of land and build some houses where we can just relocate those who are willing, and they go and make a family out of Nairobi. And then we have the Gikomba. The Gikomba fire, I hear, and this is something I would want to look at, that the Gikomba fire is made by people who want to grab land. So they ban Gikomba. But when they are building the stores, they are told, this part, don't touch. So the land go reducing and reducing. So in my county government, I would want to make sure that I'm protecting and making sure that we're able to know when there's such plan like banning the business place like Yekomba.
So much indeed for your responses. Wanegade, 5 minutes to the questions asked already.
First of all, thank you very much. What brilliant questions from the audience and passion for the city. Let me begin by really tackling the climate smart question, which I think is a trivialized subject, but it's really important, and it talks to the environment. Recycling water. We have a lot of roofs, we have a lot of gutters, we have a lot of rainwater because Nairobi we get rains when we don't have drought. We need to look at water harvesting with the same gusto and energy that we look at solar lighting. We really need to make Nairobi smart. And in our building codes, we must bring climate smart policies, ideas into our building codes and into what we do going forward. And I'm talking water, I'm talking energy, I'm talking transport and traffic, because when you look, the biggest incidence of disease in Nairobi is respiratory disease. It's caused by dust, dirt. We also have a lot of, once in a while, we have a lot of cholera incidents that comes out of water. So we have a health issue that is born of lack of real climate smart focus. And I really thank whoever asked the question about being climate smart. And it's the biggest subject in the world today in terms of global warming. And also industries, how we work with the national government to make sure that we align, we protect ourselves. We must differentiate selfishness and self-interest. It is in our self-interest to really act like a community. So it's in public need for us to really promote self-interest and really separate what self-interest and selfishness is. Selfishness is greed, self-interest is really our need. The other question I want to tackle is around NMS. I think we should not be too worried about NMS, we should celebrate it. It was a stopgap measure to maintain our capital city. Under the law, it was created and it will be extinguished by the law. My reading of the law is that it's evaporating legally by November of this year. There'll be proper handover. The winner of the contest in 10th of August, who will be me, will then take the instruments and we guide it through. There's no debate and fight about it. I think it's not a subject to be discussed. It's very clear when it was created and when it will end. It has a term limit. And I totally agree. The city, according to the Constitution, and every county should be managed by the people until the people change. The one thing we must remember is that Article 1 is the most important article in the Constitution. If you don't read any other one, read that one. And remind yourself that this city and this power we seek is from the people. What the people say is what we do, not our ideas. And politics is also not a gladiatorial sport where we come here and beat one another and the rest of you cheer. It's us to bring solutions that really change. So I'm saying that because when NMS came and when we had political harmony through the handshake, Jubilee, ODM, NMS was created. And we all agree, to a very large extent, it has done a decent job. I think the other question I would really like to deal with is especially kwa mama pale alituuliza kuhusu people with disabilities. There is an AGPO program. The law demands me as governor, and I'm going to be law-abiding governor, I'm not above the law, to make sure I give opportunities to people with disability. Make our transport system proper to people with disabilities. Mama, I will obey the law. And that law will be obeyed, and you will see it in the procurement system. I think there was other particular questions around garbage. Let me answer that one. The biggest source of challenge in our city is population density and structure. We have places, Westlands, Langata, we have less than 2,000 people who live in a square kilometer. If you go to Mathare, Ruaraka, and places like that, we have 30,000 people who live in 1 square kilometer. Garbage is paid on a formula of weight and distance. So collect it the farthest place and make sure you collect the heaviest weight. In my government, I'm going to bring population density into every equation of service delivery. Water, sewer, security, fire. Gikomba, we shall make fire system. We shall be attending to people. We shall not be attending to social class. we shall be a county where 15,000 employees deliver services, not just earn salaries. Because when you hear all the questions right across, is an appetite of servers. And then lastly, I will remodel the financing program of Nairobi. We need a new financing program to be able to deliver what we have. Thank you for listening to me.
A big round of applause to the candidates. As we draw closer to the very end, a very pertinent question, and this has been an issue especially to county workers, and I want us to take a look at this particular video showcasing the challenges that unfortunately county workers are going through, or rather were, and just wondering, in your time, will things change?
Because the county government of Nairobi have seen it fit to deny the workers and the residents of Nairobi the services that they always yearn for. Ikiwa choo za city hall mbaya, do we have the moral authority to go out there and arrest somebody in the village? Somebody kule mashinani.
Lifts hazifanyi. For the last 6 months, hatujai kuwa na lifts hili jumba la City Hall Annex na main City Hall. Kuna wafanyikazi wetu wanafanya paka 14th floor. For example, fleet management. Pako 14th floor. Hawawezi access office. We have a whole director for social services who has never been going to office. He's operating from his car.
All right, all right. So there you have it. How are you going to change that narrative? So each person, you can respond. Let's start with one of Dennis. Go ahead.
And you're closing a window because a child is begging something and you fear he's going to steal from you. And if you go to my profile, I started a children's home when I was 23 years old with the Japanese, and it is existing in Kitengela. And what I'm happy about is that some of those children that we assisted are now families and are graduates. So in my government, this is something that passionately I'll look into because it's something that I've been involved with. Recommending to this, it is sad for us leaders. I wonder when workers are not paid, whether governors are also not paid. And when you are paid as a governor and you don't care about people who are working, then there's a problem. When you're a leader, and I'll take this to another notch because I said I'm a diplomat of the African Union, you can't be a president watching on TV people dying and you're the president. And it's equally the same thing when I'm a governor, I'm paid with all the security around me, but somebody earning less money cannot get her money or his money. It's a pity. And I think for my government, it is important to treat everybody equally. Let that person who gets his 10,000 or 20,000 be treated like the governor who earns that kind of money. So for me, this will be a very serious focus in terms of making people feel free. People feel happy about being associated with the Nairobi County. Thank you.
Just to pick a question from a gentleman from Bunge la Wazalendo. Concerned, number one, have you fought corruption in the past? A personal testimony of your work against corruption? And secondly, of course, he has mentioned something to do with
corporate social responsibility, especially the CEOs who are in that position. What role have you played to Nairobi people by the time you are the CEO before getting this job? Because I've seen most of the aspirants now giving us good policies and what they are going to do. But before, what is your conduct? Have you built any nursery school within your village?
Excellent. So what have you done corporately, socially, to gain you that element of being a governor? Go ahead.
Thank you. I didn't want to blow my own horn, but I've just given an example of a children's home which I've started, and my graduates are now. And you can see, you can visit Kitengela, look for idea for our organization, you will see the children for yourself. So it is something I've done. The second point, you attest my own testimony. LDP, Liberal Democratic Party, is not a new party. In 2002, this is the party that brought the late President Kibaki in power. And I was very instrumental in signing all those MOUs that you hear about. But you can imagine the offers that I was given so that I can do certain things. And these are documented. I was even offered to be the CEO of Kenya Ports Authority, but I denied to take that position because of integrity. So I'm talking from experience, but I don't want to go into details. You can go and get the rest. Thank you.
Excellent. So we'll pick, and there was also another question on hawkers. How do we create order in that kind of system? They're trying to earn their decent living.
thank you. I'll build this together with the workers, because hawkers are genuinely trying to earn a living. We must respect that. But we need to organize them. And how do we organize them? We can only organize them by providing good leadership. We must have somebody who understands how those people operate and that they are also earning alive and keeping families. But we cannot have a leadership which ignores them. Most of the time, the leaders that we have, and even the past governors that you talk about, what they give is just some handouts to make themselves relevant, but not really tackling the issues that are affecting the hawkers. Now, if you need to organize them, create a place for them. And we talked about what NMS is doing. They're trying to organize, create some system in place. My government, and please believe it, I'm a true Christian and I believe in what I say. If we form a government, everybody will be treated equally and will be given an opportunity to earn his or her own living in a honest manner. Thank you.
Growl, county workers, the working conditions, the question of, do you have a testimony of fighting corruption in the past? And do you have corporate social responsibility at your level? And the place of hawkers creating that orderly environment for them.
The strike happened at City Hall. I was in fact at City Hall. I had a meeting on the 9th floor with the person in charge of youth, sports, and education. And by the time I walked up the 9 floors, I was in the office just sweat. And when you're walking up the stairs, you'll see every floor has a demand notice for payment, meaning these offices do not pay people that performed the contract. So not only are they not paying the workers, they're not paying people that have provided services. And this again simply ties to corruption. It's not an issue of operation of City Hall. It's because the reason people are not paid is because there is no money left. It was all stolen. That's the reason. Right? So it just comes to regulating our finances, and that will be the solution for that. It's quite frustrating to see that people do not have quality uniforms working for a government organization, yet they're in the capital city in Kenya. So that's something that we need to resolve immediately. On the issue of my track record, I don't want to take you through my entire CV, but aside from Bandari and Kibera was in Malindi, and my organization created one of the cheapest clean water solutions in the world. We implemented that in Malindi. We took the water from Athi River and we were able to filter it with a machine that only cost 10,000 shillings to construct. So that's something we've done. And then this again testifies to how technology can help us resolve issues in a country without spending so much of our budget on it. What I've also done is we've created a charity called Mathai Rugby Foundation. The best way to build the bodies and the minds of people. Because I don't think you've ever seen a small, scrawny rugby player, right? So we provide all of them with nourishment, a training program, and we also donate gym equipment to different areas in Nairobi so people can train instead of engaging in drug use. So that's some of the things we've done in Nairobi. Moving on to the issue of hawkers. So one of the discussions I've had and the deals I've brokered with the people, I've brokered deals with many different groups in Nairobi, and one of those groups is they can continue doing their current sales in a structured way. So we look at where there's demand and supply that's enjoyable and facilitated. And then now what we do is we take it a step further and we help hawkers increase their sales by a projected 20-30% by listing all their products online as well. So we take them through a training course. So that way not only are we supporting hawkers' current operation, we're carrying them into the digital age and boosting their income by a minimum of 20%. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. Let's move on to Bwana Nyamwamu. You can respond to the county workers' conditions, and you can also couple it up with the uncontrolled development. There was a question in regards to that, so any of the candidates can respond. Go ahead.
So, the county workers. Number one, salaries will be paid on time. My administration will ensure salaries are paid on time. If it's the 30th or the end of the month, we will honor that obligation without fail. I don't see a reason why people should work and be staying 3-4 months without pay. So salaries will be paid on time. And number two, I went through City Hall And one thing that I saw that I'm going to make a priority is to buy new seats for the employees. The chairs there are horrible. We need to replace those seats so that people can have good seats to sit on when they are working. In short, we are going to improve the working conditions of our employees. He asked about corporate social responsibility. I have educated over 100 students through my Nyanza Scholarship Fund. Some of them have even graduated and become lawyers. So, you know, whatever little I was blessed with, I also shared it with others. The other thing that I also did was I sponsored a soccer tournament in Makadara, just to promote the talent in terms of sports. So those are some of the things that I can highlight that I've done in terms of corporate social responsibility from my end. In terms of hawkers, we dance around this issue because, you know, people are scared of voting and everything. Things first, my administration will eliminate any forms of harassment on anybody doing business in Nairobi. Let's get that off the way. But for us to handle the hawkers issue, we have to give them an alternative. One of the things that we can do, as has been mentioned by him, is to have an online platform, like an Amazon kind of an online platform, where people can advertise their stuff, and you know it's done electronically or online or whatever. We can do that. Number two, we can have days where part of Nairobi, like on a weekend, is cut off, and let people come sell their merchandise. That place is cut off. It's in a structured and organized manner. We can do that and give them a platform to sell their stuff, just the way they do that, that market on Saturday. We can expand that to hawkers. Three, we can build a place specifically designed for hawkers. If you're out of that region, we don't arrest you, but we fine you, so that, you know, we get order and sense, and also respect other businesses in Nairobi, because a lot of hawkers are hawking in front of other business enterprises. Thank you.
The welfare of county workers.
For the workers, it's just a matter of commitment, because there is a lot of cash flow which goes on in the government, the county government on daily basis. So it's just a matter of priorities. And for me, that would be number one. Social responsibility. Social responsibility. As a director of a family business, we have partnered with churches which are sponsoring children homes. We buy food and we take the food to the centers.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was just concerned, and maybe I'll ask this question. Do we know the budget, the county budget, the county government budget, and what are the unique revenue strategies that you have that will sustain the county? That's a question that is coming to you after this. Go ahead.
Okay, I will start with individual, personal, social responsibility. I'm a real believer in tenda wema nenda zako, but for the sake of specifically answering the question, I have chaired the board of management for a national school for over 10 years, where I earned nothing, but I educated a lot of orphans and children, called Bishop Gatimo Gandu Girls High School in Nyeri for 10 years. I have put a lot of children, especially I am for orphans, especially through school. When I was managing director of Vivo Energy Shell, I'm the person who reopened Shell petrol stations and brought them to the entire of Western Kenya and I found 90 petrol stations, I left 200 petrol stations. The best social responsibility is jobs. One petrol station employs 30 people. I created 30 times 100 petrol stations. When I was Director of Hako Industries, we transformed the community in Kasarani for over 10 years with water. When I was Group Chief Commercial Officer of Equity Bank, I convinced James Mwangi during COVID, and we employed 1,500 young people on an outreach program. I have been a job creator right through, and when I come to the county, it's not social responsibility, but social investment. I've created a package called Linda Jamii, where we shall be giving food every Friday to all primary and nursery-going children in informal settlements to tackle the issue of food insecurities for certain households. And it will be given to their mothers who will come and see. But what I will also implement is the public revenue management system in Nairobi. Nairobi's budget is allocated 24 billion from the national government. It has been collecting, the last statistic I saw, it collected 10 billion. Nairobi has revenue potential for 80 billion. Every day, actually, Nairobi collects over 150 million shillings in revenue. But what gets to the county is roughly, on a good day, 40 million. I will seal and work with member county assemblies to seal the revenue leakage, and that is the money we shall use. And I'm talking about us getting to 80 billion revenue potential, and this is not my number, it is a number by the Commission for Revenue Allocation, who know that Nairobi, and it's a formal report, that Nairobi can collect 80 billion from 6 revenue lines. And then we need to remove all the other, Nairobi has 126 revenue lines to irritate the city. We need to remove and collapse those revenue lines to not more than 12, because that's what can run the city. Therefore, that's why I started by saying refinancing the revenue model. I wish we had more time to get into that detail, but refinancing model of Nairobi City County, and also creating a new valuation role for the city, but revenue neutral, so that everybody in the city can take pride in the right value for their property without really increasing rates and reducing also the rates. I think today, ratepayers are paying 14% of the value of their property dated back to 1982. We are going to align those systems. Therefore, I think I really welcome the question on social responsibility is how charitable are you? Nobody is more charitable than a politician who abandons a private life to a public life and commit, not just myself, but I also commend everybody here on the podium to serve. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. A big round of applause to the candidates. Of course, the question on your unique revenue collection strategies, do you have that you can share very quickly in 1 minute? Dennis?
Basically to echo what Honorable Igate has said. But you can see that we have a lot of money in Nairobi. But does this money reach to the people? Does this money provide the required services? This is the biggest question we need to ask. And if we channel this money, this revenue that we have to the right places, Nairobi will be the richest county. And the people, Nairobians, will be very comfortable. So for mine is, we must find ways of utilizing this money that we have properly. You talked about youth, and unemployment, about the youth. You talked about garbage collection. But if this money is utilized properly, I can assure you that every Nairobian will be comfortable and will not be talking about unemployment and will not be talking about garbage collection and these other challenges that Nairobi as a county is facing today. Thank you.
Also, what I've realized is in Kenya, we have very many failed government parastatals. And because of that, we've been reluctant to open any more parastatals in Nairobi. Just last evening, I was having a meeting with someone that wanted to open one of the biggest call centers in Africa, in Kenya. And the minimum wage would be around 20,000 per month. So I'm thinking that's also an option we have in Nairobi, is opening new parastatals that engage the digital times, the tech culture that's happening in the world, and nurture the image that Nairobi is, Kenya is the next Silicon Savannah in Africa. Thank you.
My deal is, let's make Nairobi business friendly. Attract foreign investment, promote local investment. Let's not fight business people. Instead, let's promote them, let's encourage them. if somebody starts a business, let's create an atmosphere where this business can stay 10, 20 years after they are long gone. When foreign investors come, let's not demand kickbacks from them. Let's be genuine in our negotiations. Let's bring people. We have a lot of untapped, unemployed youths, untapped potentials. A few years back, India is now known for in the tech industry. They started training people and exporting the tech graduates. We can do something similar. We have smart graduates. Let's encourage entrepreneurship in colleges. Let's support people who are trying to develop tech companies. You know, let's make Nairobi business friendly so that, you know, when we create businesses, we can employ people. The government can only employ so much. The county can only employ so much. So that's one of the things that I'll be working on.
All right.
On revenue, I would focus on revenue allocation, because especially after the epidemic for coronavirus, many business people were left, many business went down, and most of them up to now, they don't know where to start. So with revenue allocation, I would locate a fund which I'll work with financial institution to manage it, but on this, I would not look at some of the terms our financial institutions usually look at. Like, for example, when most of the institutions talk of there is a fund for business, and then they put the term that for you to get the fund, you must have a running business for the last 6 months or 1 year. And they also put it that you must have a bank statement. So if the business has collapsed, you cannot have a bank statement. And on the other hand, if the business has collapsed, you cannot have a bank statement. And again, you may have a good business plan, which is not running. And with a certain capital, you can be able to start a good business. So with my revenue allocation, I'll be able to set up a fund which can take care of that group of people.
All right, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to that place we want to close. And as we close, we'll give you an opportunity to give your final remarks. And one of the issues that I'd want us to engage in, and that's why this is very critical, let's have that Menti question as you give your final remarks. So we're saying, somebody's saying, one of the challenges residents face is engagement with county government, even when they are organized. As a resident, do you have this experience, and how do we intend to address this? So it's more of public participation. How will you manage, how will you ensure that after this, we will still come and engage? So as you give your final remarks, go ahead.
I will bring to life an act of parliament that has not been implemented in Nairobi. We are expected to manage the county with a Neighborhoods Act, the village councils. In every ward, there will be a village council. That village council will provide oversight and work as become an advisory to the ward administrator. And these village councils will come into sub-county, into the sub-county level and into the county. Therefore, I'll have a socio-economic council of Nairobi that will not consist of politicians sitting there. It is you, Residents Association, who will give me your best to sit with me and give me oversight as we continue. We'll manage the city with you. The second thing as I close is to truly say the contest on 9th of August is not so much about what needs to be done in Nairobi, because you can see all of us are in unison and agreed what really needs to be done, is truly who needs to do it. Who can we trust to do it? Who is eligible to do it? And that question of who is a question of leadership. And that question is not for us to answer, it's a question for the residents of Nairobi to truly answer who's qualified. I submit to you that my record of service as an employee over the years puts me in good state to serve you. I will talk up blue-collar work. I will create vocational, educational, technical institutes in each of the 85 wards. And I have campaigned talking up blue-collar work, and which has been denigrated for too long. Blue-collar work is the heart of a city. And I close by saying, Nairobi will be branded. We will brand this city as a hub of investment, a hub of business, a hub of tourism, a hub of inspiration and hope to so many people. Nairobi, after 5 years, will challenge branded cities like Cape Town under my administration, branded cities like Singapore, branded cities like London and Barcelona, using sport, using women and youth, and really a city where people are united, moving forward, not a city where there's hope on one side and there's depravity on the other. And thanks for listening to me.
Well, thank you so much. A big round of applause to Wanaigade. And by the way, immediately after this, we're now going to place via Menti some of the key points that they need to be committed to, and then they will sign that. So we'll move on to the next candidate. Madam Wamboi, go ahead.
So I would ask Nairobians to vote for Nancy Wamboi Mwadime, because voting for Nancy Wamboi Mwadime is voting for change. We cannot expect change when we keep electing the same leaders every after 5 years. We need a change, and especially we need leaders who have a heart of the people, who are willing to listen to them. Like on my case, when I become the governor of Nairobi, I'll have days, like 2 days in a month, when I can open and the Nairobians will come and sit with me and have a cup of tea and tell me of their problem, or just sit with me and they feel that they're sitting with the governor. Because I'm going in there, not sent by any leader or any parties. I was just given an opportunity by Usawa Party kwa wote to serve everybody, because Usawa Party for wote stands for everyone. So I am going to be a leader for everyone, starting from business people, from top to down, from youth. I'll be a mother to the youth, and I'll also be a mama to mamas, and I'll also be a mama to men. So I'll ask Nairobians to vote for Nancy Wamboi Mwadime.
Nairobi, it's time to change. It's time to get new faces on City Hall, not people that quit, not people that have been there for 5 years, that did nothing, that never did any oversight. Nairobi needs fresh blood, fresh ideas, and I bring that idea, that with me. I want Nairobi to be business friendly. I want Nairobi to embrace the business atmosphere where people can do their businesses without fear of harassment of any sort. We are going to eliminate all forms of harassment, whether it's from the policemen, whether it's from the city council. In fact, we are going to abolish the power for city council to arrest people. That's a colonial act that should have been abolished long time ago. If somebody has if somebody is doing business where he's not supposed to be, let's give him a ticket. Let him appear to court. Let him have his day in court. Not pushing mamas and putting them in trucks like they're criminals. Number two, we are going to embrace Nairobi to be a smart city, where, you know, given my background in data analytics, we are going to use data analytics to solve problems of decongestion, problems of water, sewerage system, so that we can provide efficient services to Nairobians. We are also going to fight KEMSA. We have health dispensaries here that have no medication because they disappear at that level. KEMSA will bring all the medication that's been allocated to Nairobi to the last one, to the last bit. If they decide to steal other counties, the other counties can fight them. But I'll fight them tooth and nail to ensure that medication is available in our health centers. Our borders, we are going to streamline the operations. We are going to put politics aside, make the border industry streamlined, safe, so that whoever they are carrying is safe and the border himself is safe. We are going to put business aside and streamline that operation. Service delivery. We are going to
especially in the informal sectors. We are going to ensure that service delivery is improved in the informal sectors. And lastly, in terms of participation, every constituency will have their day when they meet, and then at the county level, we'll also have a day when the representatives of these constituencies meet, and we talk about the problems and the progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. A big round of applause as well. Thank you so much. Margot?
Let me start off by providing my comments on public participation, then I'll give my closing remarks. So in regards to public participation, my team and I have begun the construction of a project called One Nairobi. And what is featured on this project is a hotline where you can call my office, provide your name, your issue, and your contact details. And at the end of the day, I will read the report daily to understand what the people of Nairobi are reporting to me. Secondly, we'll have a system that allows you to submit complaints of issues in Nairobi, and it will have an upvote system. So if a lot of people are complaining about, let's say, there's too many bumps on a certain road, if that issue receives maybe 3,000 upvotes, that is something of top priority to my government. So that's something we'll focus on. And another thing that's partnered with this structure is that anyone in Nairobi can submit a complaint and a solution to that complaint. So that public participation is at the highest efficiency, meaning that you're providing the complaints and the solutions. And if your solution is valid, we'll back you as a government. No matter your age, no matter where you're from, we'll support you as a government with that solution. So that will provide for public participation at the highest level. Now my closing remarks. I'm sure on some level, everyone here recognizes the fact that I have an obstacle to overcome in terms of winning this. We're dealing with a lot of media bias as well, and this is the first opportunity I've had to speak to a lot of members here. I want to clarify that the media does not select your leaders. We live in a democracy where you, the Kenyans, select your leaders. And please take time and reflect on the ideologies and plans the leaders have for Nairobi. There's a reason I myself was backed Harman Singh Grewal by the Safina Party, whose presidential aspirant is Jimmy Richard Wanjigi, and whose founder was Paul Mwite, one of the fighters of multipartyism in Kenya. There's a reason they've backed me, and I feel today I've showcased the ideologies I have that have granted me this backing, and I hope I can count on your vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And finally.
Thank you so much. Residents associations like CARA plays a very important role in the development of any city or town. And I, as a journalist, I was working with the former chair of the CARA, Mike Mills, and we had a lot of courtesy calls on the leadership in Nairobi and the leadership in other towns to encourage residents to establish residents associations so that they can work in tandem with governments. So it's very critical the role CARA is playing to ensure that leadership are put on check and also to provide advice to those who are in position of leadership. So I will work very closely with CARA and the other residents association when elected governor, and also try to encourage other counties, other governors to do the same so that those counties can develop and prosper. In my closing remarks, I want to thank you for listening to me. You have listened to me. My campaign strategy is you like what I have said, please become my ambassador, continue to convince others so that we can change this Nairobi. It is very critical that the good message spreads if you think it's a good message and you like it. The other point is that I want to thank CARA for organizing this very, very important forum, and I believe I want to believe that this is not the last forum that we are going to have before we go to the elections. Let us have more so that we can engage, even also at the MCA level, so that we know the kind of leadership that we are going to bring on board for the county of Nairobi. Finally, for voting me, you are voting for change in Nairobi. And not only change, but also prosperity. Because I mean what I say, and I believe, like my brothers have said, Nairobi needs a different type of leadership. Tunataka mabadiliko so that Nairobi can change. Let us not continue the status quo where we have leaders being elected for us and we are told to do what they do. Please, when you go to the ballot box, choose for yourself, you are there alone, and make sure that you elect the right leader. Thank you.
Wow. A big round of applause to the candidates. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your responses, your confidence, your commitment to stand out as servants. Now we're going to do an opinion poll, and we're saying if today we were voting, whom would you vote for? We'll hide it, but we want to just get a feel. So everyone on your phones, we're going to use Mentimeter here. It is going to be confidential, definitely. Just in a moment. All right. There we go. So on your phones, let's have Menti there. Let's have Menti there. Which candidate would you vote for? Everything is on your phone. www.menti.com. The code is 67026167. Which candidate would you vote for? Go to www.menti.com. The code is 67026167. 13 people have already voted. 16 people have voted. Please make sure you vote. Go to www.menti.com. The code is 67026167. 27 people have voted. This is for everyone. This is for everyone, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely, including them and those who are not here as well. 31. Oh, sure, by the way, if you have your phones, www.menti.com. 67026167. 33 people have voted so far. Those joining us via YouTube, Facebook, you can also do that. The code is 67026167. Vote, vote, vote. Which candidate would you vote for? Okay. Should we close? We're closing, we're closing. We're closing. 44 people. Fantastic. So the numbers are coming. Oh, well done. 50 people, 50 people. 49. Before I close, 50 people. Well done. 50 people. Fantastic. Okay. This is just an opinion poll. Okay, so we are closing. We're closing, ladies and gentlemen. Final question for all of you. And this will guide us to the final part of the debate where the candidates will sign and say, we are committed, so that whoever takes the seat will take those documents to him or her. Okay, we're done. Check your phone, check your phone. Next question. What commitment do you expect from the incoming governor? Just commitment, not the name of the person, just the commitment. Just the commitment. Just the commitment. All right. So, dear candidates, please check this out. So, a smart city with a 24-hour economy. Do you commit to that? Expect a very robust engagement with resident associations in Nairobi, transparency and accountability to help eradicate corruption within our city, fair and just systems to put in place for trade and the issuing of tenders, opening up the government sector for job opportunities, especially for Kenyans. Okay. All right, so keep those coming. All right, clear illegal structures, traders, matatus, car washes. Regular engagement with resident associations on service delivery issues, transparency, self-driven, rebrand Nairobi, just streamline Nairobi, honesty, transparency, hard and smart work, integrity and truth to power to ensure we have the basic security in our neighborhoods, access to clean water, access to education, support, ease of doing business in Nairobi, 24-hour economy, that he or she will serve the people as Jesus served us, implement respiratory health wellness, integrity and efficiency, not to disappear after election, improvement of service delivery, improvement has security reforms to make Nairobi greener, stay true and efficient, improvement of service delivery and removal of cartels, a well-planned and inclusive city to make Nairobi work, equality for all residents, better health care, especially for cancer patients, eradicate corruption, 24-hour economy where everything flows with ease naturally, better roads and sidewalks, a city that works, self-driven, do your job, government of actions, to be available to all and break the cartels, a better Nairobi and improved security, a tarmac road where I live, responsive country government, curb noise, pollution from bars in residential areas, innovation and service to all. Wow, get cartels out of city, that is the biggest problem we have. Extend Mishuki Park to Ruai, Nairobi transformation, streamline Nairobi. Just do your job. More employment, support the hustling Kenyans, stop current intimidations occasioned by city askaris, decency, shut down the NMS mess, work opportunity to our youth. Just do your job. Just do your job is coming up. Efficient e-permitting systems, equity and equality, youth empowerment, job creation by promoting. Just do your job is coming up. Just do your job, just do your job, just do your job. All right. A big round of applause for them. Thank you so much for your time. And at this particular moment, I will welcome Reverend Ephraim Kamake to give the closing remarks as we prepare the candidates to sign in regards to these commitments. At least you will remember this is what the people of Nairobi, at least those who are here, want you to commit to. A microphone? All right, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, our MC, moderator. I want to just say what is my assignment right now. There are two things. One of them is to appreciate all of us for being here today. Appreciate our partners in this area, and also appreciate that God has given us an opportunity. As I close with a word of prayer and giving you the blessings for having the cup of tea as you go out. And this is just my two assignments that I'll deal with. One of the things that I want to say is that we are happy. And today we have seen, we have witnessed I want to appreciate any other person who may be standing for a public office who is here, MP, MC, maybe senator, if you can stand. If you can stand. We want to appreciate them. Let's acknowledge them, Charles. Let's acknowledge them because I'm to listen to the governors. Wish you luck. If we have the next level of debate, you might take these seats. It will depend on the engagement in terms of the conversations with the people, the sponsors. Now, I want to thank God for this day. I want to say thank you to the Almighty. And as I had said earlier, I want to appreciate that the gubernatorial candidates, as I listened to them, and all of you did, I appreciate each one of them for delivering a humanitarian, diplomatic presentation. I want to appreciate that they also did, they are very well, I think diplomatically to the point in terms of the humanitarian principles of being neutral when you even campaign, being impartial when you campaign, and of course also being independent. Those are basic principles of leadership practitioners. And I want to say thank you very much, all of you, for coming and engaging in a very, very committed way of being there for our people, for it is the people for which you want to serve that have brought us together. I want to take this opportunity, therefore, to just pray now so that we can live and go in peace, and God bless you. I'll pray for you so that you can go, and I want to appreciate the people who have come here, spent a lot of their time. I can see all manner of groups that deal with the issues of political touch and the issue of what it is Nairobians want. The residents question the main issue here, that if the governors can work with the residents, it will be an exceptionally service delivery improved, achievements that we experience. Like everybody has agreed, NMS have done a good job, though for a very short time. Let me also take the opportunity to thank the board of Kara, to thank Anseido Foundation for supporting this exercise. We would not have been able to manage it without your presence, Hansel Seido. And we have not forgotten that you set an example. Konrad Adenauer took over Germany after the Second World War in 1946, and by 1966, Germany was a superpower. Residents were given the responsibility to carry on their development agenda. That is the country we want, because the people know what they want. People expect that you work with them. It will be delivered to the German standards, who support the world for good political and democratic space in the world. I pray now. Lord, we thank you for the day. We thank you for all of us who are here, all the governors, potential governors, and those who are aspiring for other positions. We thank you for listening, taking our time, and making sure that we understand what it is that all of us need to know about who we should elect. Father, we are therefore committed to you as we live and take the path towards where we come from, and as we get into the heavy time of campaigns and listening into the candidates' challenge of competitive engagements and conversations. We thank you, for we pray this, believing and trusting, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Amen. You are dismissed. Thank you.
Amen.
Have a cup
Amen.
of tea.
Just before we leave, we'd like to take a photo. And remember, we have a signing ceremony here. So I'd kindly request that we be seated for a moment. Let's be seated for a moment. Let's be seated for a moment, please. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have Bernard the other page so that we can sign the next one, the one that had Menti. All right. So please let us all be seated. Okay. So we'll have kofi tafadhali, makofi tafadhali. Asante sana. Next on line, please. Next on line, please.
We can take this to them.
Sure, sure. So thank you so much. It was an honor being part of the debate. Those joining us via YouTube and Facebook, asanteni sana. All the best. Asanteni sana kwa kuwa hapa. Shukran, shukran.